All right, what a year it's been for movies, man. It's been ridiculous, to be honest. I don't remember the last time that I've actually felt the desire, need, want, whatever you want to call it, to go to the theater and see a brand new movie, week in, week out, or even two times in a month for that matter. But luckily, I got my girlfriend hooked me up with the movie pass to Regal. So I've just been going whenever something comes out, I'm coming to see it. But there's actually been movies worth it, and I went and saw Odyssey. It just released today, and it was worth the price of admission. I'm gonna start off by saying I know people can be skeptical, especially if you're thinking about going to see the movie. If you're watching this review, obviously you probably have interest in it, but I wouldn't call myself a Christopher Nolan stan, but I am a huge fan. Obviously, I go back to like the Prestige Memento days. Memento actually isn't even my like in one of my favorite Nolan films. Prestige is my favorite. Memento just had one of those plot lines that I was more confused throughout it to even appreciate what it was. And I've only seen it one time, and it was the edited version, like on TNT or whatever the case was. But Odyssey, I did it. I actually watched one trailer when it first was announced, which was like a teaser trailer, and then the final trailer that came out in true Nolan fashion. They don't give much away, which is a good thing to me. Obviously, when you watch his trailers, you look at all these things are like grand productions, so you try to pull as much from it as you can without spoiling yourself. There's source material here, obviously, with the Odyssey. I haven't read the book myself, so I don't know what that was. I came into this kind of naked. I didn't read anything. I've heard things about it, but obviously I'm still pretty new to the story and the plot, so I didn't know what to expect from all of it. But this was a journey. Obviously, when you go into a Nolan film, you come into it expecting a great story, or at least a solid story, a great score, cinematics to be on point. I don't know how many of his movies were shot in IMAX. I think it goes back to The Dark Knight. You guys will have to refresh me on that, or correct me on that. I'm not sure. And this one, I didn't even come to see it in IMAX. This is just a regular Regal theater. So if you're on the borderline of saying, "Oh, it's an IMAX, it was shot in IMAX," maybe I should hold off to go see it in IMAX. By all means do that, especially if you don't have the movie pass and you're paying $20 or $16 a pop. But if you just have a close by movie theater that is running this and you're like, I really want to see it before I get spoiled on something, don't feel like you're missing out too much just by going to the regular theater. Now, if I have to say so, the quality of the film was great, even in traditional standard format. And whatever they did to the sound, it was on point, because there was a couple scenes there, more than a couple actually, where my ears were like ringing. Like if a regular traditional film is like volume max of 5, this movie was at 20, because there was a couple that like shocked me. There was some moments where the noise like jump scared me a little bit, and I don't get too skittish when it comes to these movies, but they definitely got me a couple times. But no, let's get into it, because obviously there's a whole bunch of people in this film. You kind of worry with Nolan. You know he can kind of rein everybody in and make it a collective, so they don't like outshine the movie or the script itself. But you still worry about it sometimes. And you got Matt Damon, you got Tom Holland, you got John Barenthal, you got Lupita, you got Robert Pattinson, you got Anne Hathaway. So a lot of the faces that you've already seen in other Nolan movies, he carries into this one. But they're all great. I felt they nailed it. Everybody showed up to work on this one. Tom Holland, I didn't know what to expect from him in this role. Obviously, I told you guys or mentioned that I didn't know too much about the source material. But when you see the trailers, you're like, I am interested in that story, that plot line, but Tom Holland doesn't feel like he necessarily fits into that script, because he's always like the good guy, the nice guy. So you worry about how he'll fit into like a more serious plot line, and especially if he's expected to carry it. Now, going into it from the trailers, you think he is, and you think he is, but you don't necessarily know if he's gonna be the main catalyst of the story and the main protagonist. And I say it's split pretty evenly between he and Matt Damon. And by the way, if if there was any doubt, if there's a ever again a movie where it's Spider-Man, Jason Bourne, and it's directed by Christopher Nolan and Anne Hathaway by uh, those means, I'm gonna go see it. You can sign me up right off the bat, and I thought all of them killed it. Robert Pattinson, he was he reminded me a lot of, for you Game of Thrones fans, he reminded me of Littlefinger. Now I don't think he's a complete ripoff of Littlefinger, but there was definitely moments in there I was like, oh, that reminds me of that character from Game of Thrones. So maybe there was a little bit of motivation there, but I thought he was great in his role. The it, every time I go now, I was saying how much of a Christopher Nolan fan I am. Um, to put that into context, I've seen every Christopher Nolan film, and majority of them I've liked, but the last couple didn't catch my attention. In the trailers, like Oppenheimer, Dunkirk, I think those are the last two. But the last Christopher Nolan film I actually saw in theater was Tenet, and I enjoyed it. And going back to how this story is told, I kind of feel like, and if you've seen it already, you can let me know if you disagree with me, but this feels like his most linear um storytelling that I've seen him do. It's still done in the format of him going back with flashbacks or jumping around in the storyline or to different characters to tell the story in totality. But there was never a moment in this film where I thought or where I felt lost, or I was like, what's going on? Or I was waiting on where's the aha moment that's gonna come at the end. Now there is still a little bit of that. And this is spoiler free, by the way. I'm gonna try not to give anything away in this, but from beginning to end, my favorite thing about this movie and just Christopher Nolan films in general is he knows how to set the tone. Anytime this is a damn near 3 hour movie, so anytime you have a movie that long, you want to be invested. Like I feel like this is the case with all of his movies, where as soon as I sit down in that theater seat or my couch, if I'm watching Batman or whatever, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen them. As soon as I sit down, I'm invested in the world. I'm intrigued by what's going on, all the surroundings, and the tone. The music is a big part, or plays a big part in that. Where I'm not worried about who's sitting next to me. I'm not worried about the dude in front of me chomping on his popcorn and smacking his lips. No, I'm just enjoying what I'm getting, and I'm already, my mind is spinning. Like, I'm okay. He placed us in this scenario already. What's happening right now as he slowly unfolds or unravels what is happening. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed the tone that was set in this, and I thought he did a great job. Now, I've been hearing that there's been a little bit of backlash as far as, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, excuse me, but as far as characters, castings, and I want to say that there was really nobody for me that I felt was out of. I guess to open up the film, you get a little bit of Travis Scott, but he's literally in the movie for maybe a minute and a half. You're like, yeah, that's Travis Scott, even with the lines he gets. But I thought he did an okay job. And I'm renaming somebody else. Zendaya's in this movie. She's not in it a ton, but she is a catalyst of the storyline. And I feel like she did a great job with what she was given. But even with her, you still feel like that Zendaya. Like you get a little bit. I feel like a lot of her characters give like that vibe of a inner monologue, or yourself speaking to yourself, and I get that from Euphoria because that's kind of her characters where she's always in her own mind. So you get that monologue a little bit, and that's kind of the role she plays in this with Matt Damon. But yeah, Matt Damon is at the epicenter of this. And he rocked it from start to finish. I don't think I've seen a bad Matt Damon movie. If you guys have, let me know what it is. But yeah, now with the plot in general, from beginning to end, like I said, this is a 3 hour movie, so you never want to feel like there's a moment where you're getting tired, or just bored in the movie. And I felt like the pacing was done very well in this one. Like it's not just like, okay, this is where we start and we're trying to get from point A to point B, and we're just going to continue along that road. There's different branches. It's almost like he splits it up into segments or different chapters, kind of, or missions for the main characters. So you feel like you're in a different location or something different is happening that's going to propel or add to character development or something of that nature. Almost like a video game where you get like an Uncharted, maybe if you start in like the tropical islands, then you're in the snow islands. Just that change in atmosphere gives you a new appreciation for the game and the character, and it keeps you invested in instead of like your mind wandering and all that. But no, I was surprised by not only how well this movie looked, how well the score played out and fit with all the scenes. Shouldn't be surprised with Christopher Nolan. But even in all the set pieces, and there's a little bit of an element that would almost make you have to suspend disbelief. You're dealing with gods and whatnot, but Christopher Nolan always puts his unique or his realistic touch on things. So when we got to those moments, I never felt like I was taken out of the film. It never said, or I never felt like, man, that's too crazy. I don't believe it. Like, obviously, you still got to say, oh, that isn't necessarily real, but it doesn't make you feel like you're not still invested in the story or the characters, or it's not overly done to the point that you're like, all right, screw this, it's all fake and glitz and glamours, and you just feel like you're part of the movie. So I really appreciate with this film. If I had to give it a grade, I'm gonna give it a solid. I can't really find anything wrong with it. I almost feel bad because I'm gonna give it a perfect grade, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're a stan, you're a big old fan," or whoever watches this. I appreciate you. Give it a like if you are watching it. Comment if you plan on seeing the movie or you already did. But I feel like I gotta give it a 10 because from start to finish, I was invested. Um, Again, it's a linear story. If you want to knock it for that, that's up to you guys. But I can't necessarily do that because I enjoyed it all the way through. Anne Hathaway killed it. Now there was a couple points in the movies where I was like, is she overacting? Just slightly, and that was near the beginning of the movie because we were so early on. I was like, why is she so um in I shouldn't say that invested because she was his husband or his wife. But at a moment I was like, almost she's kind of doing too much at the moment. But at the same time, as you get to know the characters more and their situation that they're in, you're like, okay, that's realistic. I can appreciate and understand why she was acting that way or that hard, and it lends to later scenes in the movies or movie that keep you connected with the characters. And I thought, and again, something that can push you out of a movie that's this long is having characters that you can't relate to, um, or you just dislike. Now, there's characters I dislike in this movie, Robert Pattinson being one of them because he is that a-hole, he is that little finger character, but at the same time, I was invested in everybody's story. Like, if we would have went off on a branch, I was happy that we stayed locked in on Matt Damon's characters or Odyssey's character, because it gave it a smooth narrative that we never really strayed from. Like, we obviously took some small branches off of that storyline, but we came right back to it, and everything was focused and concise for the main part. But no, I can't pick anything wrong with this movie. I got to give it a 10 out of 10, I think. Score, plot, actors, there's enough. I wouldn't call it an action movie. It's a bit of a drama. I don't know if you call it a thriller. I don't know the genre of this movie. But there was enough action scenes in this movie that also kept me invested, and they were all done well, like with the giants, the gods, and even when you don't necessarily get the gods, or it's not like Poseidon jumping out of the water or anything like that and sinking ships, but you get mention of them, and it's like, okay, this is a real threat. This is someone that this is their culture. They actually have fear of this. And obviously Zeus is mentioned a lot throughout the movie. So yeah, from start to finish, I appreciate it and enjoyed this movie. And if you have to rank it, it's very different from his other movies. Obviously, he always, or at least like his last, what, four movies, he's picked like these grandiose subjects for his films. So it's hard to compare to like The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. Prestige is my favorite, like I said, Memento. Um, but yeah, this is at the top of the list for me. I'm still going Prestige because different type of movie, but there's no reason this doesn't get a 10 out of 10 for me. So like I said, you guys let me know what you thought of the film. And I guess we can chop it up and go back and forth if you disagree with me, or if you agree with me. We can just say how much we liked it, why we liked it, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you like the video, comment, share it if you want to. Check out my other video reviews if you haven't already. I'm still on the high. Sometimes I come out of the movie and I'm like tired when I come out, but I came out and I'm kind of hyped up from the movie still, so I might go back in and see another movie that came out, The Evil Dead. Like I've seen Masters of the Universe. I've seen The Invite. Invite was surprising and that was very good. We still got Spider-Man. We still got Doomsday coming this year, so there's plenty of movies for me to utilize this movie pass for. But yeah, this movie killed it. If you have any doubts, don't go see it. You'll enjoy it, even if it's just as a popcorn flick, or even if it doesn't live up to your expectations. You're still gonna get appreciation, and I don't think you'll feel like you wasted your money by going to see it. He put his heart into this a little bit, and it shows just in how it turned out. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces. Appreciate you guys for watching. Peace.